They marched by the thousands, children, some no older than 6, walking barefoot along the winding roads of Europe, singing hymns under the burning sun. They believed the seas would part, that angels would lead them, that their purity would do what warriors and kings had failed to achieve, reclaim the Holy Land. And then they vanished. No battle, no glory, no return. This is not myth. This is not the invention of monks or madmen. It is one of the most unsettling and least understood episodes in the entire saga of the Crusades, the Children's Crusade. And to this day, historians cannot fully explain what happened to those children. The year was 1212. Europe was weary. The Crusades had already carved a bloody trail across the map. The Holy Land, once the great prize of Christendom, remained distant and elusive. The Fourth Crusade had descended into chaos, ending not in Jerusalem, but in the sack of Christian Constantinople. Faith had become weaponized. Hope had turned to greed. Trust in the church was cracking. But then, something strange began to stir. In a small village in France, a shepherd boy named Stephen of Cloyes claimed he had received a letter, a divine letter, from Christ himself, and in it, a message. The Holy Land would not be reclaimed by sword, but by the pure, by children. His voice carried, his message spread. Soon, thousands of children were leaving their homes, their farms, their families, marching south toward the sea. No weapons, no supplies, just faith. Meanwhile, in Germany, a similar movement began. A boy named Nicholas was preaching the same thing, that the innocence of children could succeed where the corruption of adults had failed. The two crusades, one French and one German, were not officially coordinated, but they moved with eerie similarity. Thousands of children, from different lands, walking the same impossible road. Parents wept. Some tried to stop their children. Others, believing in salvation, let them go. Stories tell of children performing miracles, healing the sick, calming storms. These tales fueled the movement, but the world they walked through was not made for the innocent. They faced hunger, disease, robbers. Some children were kidnapped. Others simply collapsed and died by the roadside, their bodies buried in shallow graves or left for the wolves. Still, they pushed on. The French group reached Marseille, expecting the sea to part. Just as Moses once crossed the Red Sea, they believed God would open the Mediterranean for them. But the sea did not move. Instead, merchants offered help. 2 ship owners, Hugh the Iron and William the Pig, promised to transport the children to the Holy Land free of charge. 7 ships set sail. And from there, the records begin to fade. 2 ships sank in a storm off Sardinia. Hundreds drowned. The remaining 5 ships never reached the Holy Land. Some say they were diverted to North Africa, that the children were sold into slavery in Tunis and Alexandria. A few sources, fragmented and conflicting, suggest that survivors were seen decades later, living in servitude in the Islamic world. Others claim they were simply thrown overboard when food ran low. There are even darker whispers, that the ships were never bound for the Holy Land at all, that it was a trap from the beginning, that these ship owners, men welcomed by the church, were slave traders from the start. But here is where the mystery deepens. Because the Vatican knew, letters reached Pope Innocent III. He was aware of the movement. He knew of the thousands of children walking toward the sea. And later, he received news of their disappearance. His response was cold. He praised their faith, saying they had shown more devotion than most. But he ordered no rescue. He excommunicated no merchants. He sent no inquiry. Instead, silence. Official church records from this period are scarce. Some claim documents were lost. Others suggest they were deliberately hidden. The Children's Crusade remained a phantom in the annals of history. No grand battles, no epic victories, just a slow march into nothing. What happened to those thousands of children? Were they betrayed by greed? Swallowed by the sea? Did they perish in foreign lands, their names forgotten? Or was there something darker at play? Some researchers believe the numbers were exaggerated, that the tale grew in the retelling, that it was not a single unified crusade, but several scattered movements that blurred together over time. But others insist there was an organized pilgrimage, a mass mobilization of children, fueled by desperate faith, manipulated by unseen hands. And if that is true, then the real question is not just what happened to them, but who allowed it to happen. Because someone knew, someone opened the doors, someone watched them go, and did nothing. The Crusades are filled with tales of kings and knights, blood and glory. But the story of the children, the ones who walked into the unknown and never came back, remains one of the most haunting. It forces us to ask, how far will people go in the name of faith? And how much silence will power allow when that faith is exploited? Centuries later, we remember the kings and the popes, the wars and the sieges. But the small feet that marched into oblivion, the young voices that believed the sea would open, they were forgotten until now. And perhaps that's the real tragedy.